Hello, my name is Geneva. I have a YouTube channel. Obviously, I have a YouTube channel because you're watching it. Hello, my name is Geneva, and for the month of November, I watched a movie every single day. This video is coming out incredibly late because it is now January of 2026, and I did this in November of 2025. I watched a movie every day with the expectation that I would make a video about it, but it's just taken me a really long time to get around to it. At first I thought, oh, I'm gonna just watch a new movie that I've never seen every single day, and for the most part that is true, but there were a couple movies that were rewatches just because I was in the mood to watch them. For each, I'm gonna go through every single movie that I watched this month and give my Letterboxd review, my Letterboxd rating. Go follow me on Letterboxd, by the way. My Letterboxd is Grayburn, Grayburn. Shameless plug. I'm gonna give some comments that I made. November 1st, I decided to do this challenge about 30 minutes before I watched this movie. I watched A Trip to the Moon, Georges Méliès, 1902. I gave it 4 stars, and I liked it. My review was bring back practical effects, because it is just a masterpiece of practical effects and forced perspectives and practical sets too. November 2nd, I watched National Treasure. I gave it 3.5. I said so many people told me to watch this and I'd never seen it. There were a lot of fake outs at the end. If you've watched it, you know what I mean, but if you haven't, it kind of doesn't, that comment doesn't really make any sense. It's like fun. It's National Treasure. On the 3rd, I watched The Substance, which was very, very good. Personally, I'm not that into horror or gore, really, but I mean, I'll watch it. A lot of people told me to watch it, and it was very, very good. It was very well done. I liked the message a lot. It was a message that I feel like before this movie I hadn't really seen that much of in movies, so I really liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I wrote a comment, not overhyped, but the messaging of it got lost in a lot of the publicity and fanfare that I saw around it afterwards. On the 4th, I watched Mr. Death, a documentary. I gave it 3.5 stars. I watched it for a documentary class for my major, and it was good. It was very unique, so I would recommend that one for sure. On the 5th, I just watched something fun. I watched John Tugger Must Die, 2006, just a classic. You know, just, yeah. Really just a fun classic, like 2000s movie. Not high art, but a movie that I enjoy. On the 6th, I watched Public Enemies. Not good. Do not watch. I was so bored. I got all the different white men in my head confused. On the 7th, I watched Ocean's 8. That movie's really good. Not like really, really good, but I am a sucker for a heist movie, and also it was just fun. A problem that I think I have when I review movies is I get lost between movies that I enjoy and movies that are good. Some of my favorite movies aren't that good, but I enjoy them. So just know that when I am giving a review, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's good. It might just mean that it's a fun watch. On the 8th, I watched Frankenstein, which I made a whole video about. I would go recommend watching my video on it, and it was a very good movie, just movie-wise. On the 9th, this one was a rewatch. I watched Eternals. I don't know, I just felt like I was in the mood to watch Eternals. Is it that good of a movie? It's fine. Came out in like a era of like Marvel Cinematic Universe fatigue, so I feel like it didn't really get the shot that it deserved, but it still wasn't like the best movie ever. On the 10th, I watched Sound of Metal. I would 100% recommend. I've been wanting to watch this movie for years, and it was so raw and emotional, and like it was just like a movie just stripped down to the bare parts, and it flew by like that. Like the pacing was very well done. Sound design, of course, was very good. And it was such an intimate story. Like it was so intimate, it was so personal. It was beautiful. It was very beautiful. Like especially the ending scene, just impeccable. 100%. 102% recommend. On the 11th, I watched Charlie's Angels, which I hated. The 2000, I gave it 2 stars. I should have given it 1. Absolutely hated it. It was a Gooner movie. It was a movie for Gooners. On the 12th, I watched Inglourious Basterds. That one's good. I mean, it's Quentin Tarantino. Like, everyone knows it's gonna be a good movie film-wise, so. On the 13th, I watched the Lego Ninjago movie, which, okay. I like Lego movies. I love Ninjago. I watched Ninjago all the time growing up with my older brother. I have Ninjago trading cards. Tell me why not a singular time in the Lego Ninjago movie do they do Spinjitzu. Spinjitzu is literally the point of Ninjago. They invented new Legos so that Lego Ninjagos could do Spinjitzu, and they don't have them do it once in the movie. 14th, I watched Materialists. I don't really know what to say about Materialists. I think the marketing was a detriment. It marketed it as, it kind of told people, oh, we're gonna bring back rom-coms. It wasn't a rom-com. I was not laughing. I was actually not having a good time at all. I wasn't that interested in the characters. It does make a few like really good points about the commodification of modern dating, but it falls flat in a few other places. I want to say Jordan Teresa has a very good video about it, and it's the commentaries that it makes on modern dating, and I'll link that somewhere. But it was just kind of okay. On the 15th, I watched Kingsman 2, The Golden Circle, and all I wrote was Pedro Pascal edit. So, okay. On the 16th, this was another rewatch. I watched Holes, which is a 5 out of 5 stars. And I think it's the only 5 out of 5 stars on this entire list. It is an incredible movie. People think that I'm joking when I say how much I love Holes, but it is such a good movie. I'm never ever joking about the movie Holes. I read the book in middle school and I watched the movie, and it's pretty much a 1-to-1 replica. And it's a good story in both because it's the same exact story, and it's done so well. And it's just so good. It's very good. Watch Holes. If you haven't seen Holes, read the book and then watch the movie. Because, oh my god. It's Holes. Like, on the 17th, I watched The Hangover. It's The Hangover. It's fine. I'm not the target audience, I don't think. It has funny moments, but yeah, I'm not the target audience. On the 18th, I watched, for my documentary class, I watched Roger and Me. It could have been, it was, I have some issues with Michael Moore, so that already kind of like turned me off from the movie. Well, okay, I didn't have issues with Michael Moore until I watched this. I didn't know who Michael Moore was, surprisingly, until I watched this, and then as I was watching it, I was like, I kind of hate this guy. Like, he's kind of like a pompous, not pompous, but he's an asshole. these like random security workers or marketing managers or whatever for GM, like, you harassing them is, you aren't white knighting it for the working man if you're harassing the working men, you know, like, that was something that irked me. And then also, after we watched it, my documentary professor listed all of the things that Michael Moore lied about while making the film. So then I was like, oh, so that really like decreased a lot of this credibility and made it a much less enjoyable experience. Because even if you do agree with his messaging, you don't want to, because he lied to your face like 20 times throughout the course of the documentary. The 19th, I watched Sucker Punch. Oh my god. It was very, very good. It was so awesome. But there are two versions of Sucker Punch. There's the theatrical release and there's the extended version. On the streaming service that I watched it on, it was the theatrical release, which has a lot of cut scenes that I didn't even know about until I watched a Mike's Mike. Love Mike's Mike. I watched a Mike's Mike video on it, and he talked about all the different scenes that had been cut, and I was like, oh shoot. So I had to go back and individually watch each movie or each scene that had been cut. But it definitely made the movie better once I watched those scenes and like put them in like narratively, like where they would have gone. It makes more sense, obviously, because those scenes were supposed to be in there, but it makes more sense if those scenes are there. And I don't like the theatrical release version as much because things are missing that give it more depth. On the 20th, I watched The Maze Runner, which was good. I mean, it's The Maze Runner. I've never read the book though, so I can't say how different it was from the book, which I feel like I should have. That was right up my alley when I was in that like age, like middle school. Like, The Maze Runner was like, I was so into like the Hunger Games, and I had read Divergent and all that, so I really don't know why I didn't read Maze Runner, but I didn't. But I like the movie. On the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, I watched the 3 Fear Street movies. I watched 1994, 1978, and then 60 and 66. My friend Amber said, you've never seen Fear Street? And I was like, no, I heard it was bad. She's like, well, you have to watch Fear Street. So we hooked my laptop up to the common room TV and we watched all 3 Fear Street movies for 3 days in a row. They were fun. They weren't that scary. I don't like horror or thriller that much because I get very, very tense. So of course I was tense even though it wasn't that scary. But they were fun. They were fine. Movie-wise, they weren't like the greatest, obviously, because they're like Netflix originals, but Amber was really into them, and they were fun to watch with someone else, pretty much. On the 24th, I watched Rogue One, which was also a rewatch. Rogue One is one of my favorite spin-off Star Wars movies, and it's probably one of the most well done as well. Rogue One, I remember when it came out, people not liking it, and I don't remember why, because it came out in 2016? Yeah, because I was 9 years old. I don't remember why people didn't like it, but I remember people not liking it that much. I personally really like it. I feel like it adds a lot of, like, I might make a whole video about my thoughts on the entire Star Wars franchise as a whole, but I think that Rogue One adds a lot of stakes to the original trilogy because you actually see how many people it takes to do just one mission. You see all that is at stake. You see the actual impact of the Empire, not only on the people that they're oppressing, but on the people that they're recruiting and all the like people that are caught in the crossfire of that. Like, I just think it does very well in showing instead of telling the power of the Empire. I'm not gonna get into all of that in this video because we still have a couple movies to go over. On the 25th, I watched Dirty Dancing. a classic. It's a classic. So I thought like I have to watch it, but it was a lot more sensual than I thought it would be. But that's on me for hearing the title Dirty Dancing and not assuming that it was gonna be a little bit sexy. On the 26th, I was at home. So on the 26th, my mom, my sister, and I, we went to the theater and we watched Wicked for Good. For Wicked for Good, I wrote down, I don't want to get into all that. I gave it 4 stars. Thinking back, I probably give it 3 or 3.5. It was fine, but there's just so much that they're trying to get in. And they added 2 original songs that I didn't like. It's a movie that kind of deserves its own video, so I'm not gonna get into all that. On the 27th, this was another rewatch. I watched Night at the Museum. I might also make a video about Night at the Museum because there's some interesting lore implications that I might have to discuss about the exhibits coming to life. That's a fun one. My entire family loves that one, so we watch it. On the 28th, I watched Bottoms. I had never seen Bottoms before for some reason. I'd always been wanting to, and it was really good. I mean, I kind of knew it was good. Yeah, I wrote down I watched it with someone who got upset at how mean they were to Hazel, which is a fair point. It was very fun. It was very high school. Like, I think some of those conversations, like, I do remember having with friends of mine. On the 29th, we were getting into Christmas territory, so I watched Elf. I watch Elf every single year, at least once. It's kind of a problem I should, like, start addressing, but I can, like, I think I can quote it word for word. On November 30th, I think I was back in my dorm, and I think for some reason I thought that there were 31 days in November, so I was gonna do like a cool, good, like a movie that I really had been wanting to watch or something for the last day of November, but it ended up being the last day of November, so, and it was like 11 p.m. and I was like, shoot, I don't really have time for like a full movie right now. I'll just find like a short movie to watch. So I watched Wes Anderson's Poison. Initially, I don't think I really got it. I think it's because I was not fully engaged and I was just like, I have to watch this as my last movie. But then after kind of going over it again and then also like looking up some stuff behind it, it's about British imperialization of India, I believe. And when I was like looking back into it, I was like, oh, this actually makes sense. But it's kind of quintessential Wes Anderson, just like the shots, the way that it's done, the very stylized nature of it. It's very Wes Anderson. It's an adaptation of a Roald Dahl short story as well, which I feel like Wes Anderson and Roald Dahl, like, that kind of makes a lot of sense together. But yeah, that was the last one I watched. Okay, that was, oh boy, that was a movie every single day of the month of November. 30 days, 30 movies. Was it a good idea? No. Should anyone else try this? I don't recommend it. Some of the movies I recommend, just not every single movie every day in a row. It kind of made me numb to some of the other movies I was watching because I was just force-feeding myself so much content. It was hard to discern things and it was hard to step back and think about something and process something before I had to watch the next movie. That was kind of hard. Also, after I finished November, people were thinking that I was going to do it again. No. It was like a once in a lifetime kind of thing, or like maybe once a year. Maybe once every several years, because that was not fun. I mean, it was fun because I love movies. It kind of takes away some of the magic and some of the joy of movies if you're just watching them over and over and over again. I was thinking about doing a ranking system for all of these, but there's also no way that I would do that. These were all just very wildly different movies. I feel like it wouldn't be fair to compare them all to each other because they were all trying to achieve different things. And also I already know which one the bottom would be. It would be 2000 Charlie's Angels. That was objectively the worst movie that I watched. Other than that, yeah, hopefully this video gets out soon. It was a very, very, very late upload. I took a break, or I got lazy. I might be making videos coming up on some of the movies that I watched that are on this list, or some others. I have a lot of movie conversation up stored in my head. Thanks for watching, and more videos to come. Yeah.